Aliens thought they could defeat a human warship. They were horribly wrong. Part 1. First Contact Protocol. The Terran defense ship Prometheus glided silently through the void, its sleek obsidian hull barely reflecting the distant starlight. Captain Morgan Chen stood on the command deck, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she studied the tactical display. 20 years of service in the Terran Defense Force had etched lines around her eyes, but they remained sharp and alert, missing nothing. "Captain, we're detecting multiple vessels entering the system," Lieutenant Rice announced, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Pattern suggests a military formation. Non-Terran signatures." Chen nodded, her expression betraying nothing of the concern that flickered in her mind. The Prometheus was far from home, exploring the edge of charted space on a diplomatic and scientific mission. They were equipped for combat, of course. No human ship ventured into the unknown without proper defenses, not since the Mars colony massacre of 2184, but combat wasn't their primary function. "Composition?" she asked, her voice calm. 11 vessels, Captain. One appears to be a command ship, roughly twice our mass. The others are escort class, about half our size. Energy signatures suggest significant weapons capability. Commander Prakash, her executive officer, stepped closer to the display. "They're moving to intercept, Captain. Shall I raise shields?" Chen considered the situation. First contact protocols were clear: demonstrate neither fear nor aggression. Humanity had learned through bitter experience that many space-faring races interpreted defensive postures as hostile intent. No shields yet. Open communications on all standard frequencies. Let's see who our new friends are. The alien fleet approached with precision, forming a loose hemisphere around the Prometheus. The tactical AI highlighted potential firing vectors with ghostly red lines across the display. "They're hailing us, Captain," Communications Officer Tanaka reported. "Audio and visual. On screen." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that resembled a bipedal reptile. Its scales shimmered with iridescent blues and greens, and multiple yellow eyes blinked independently across an elongated skull. When it spoke, a series of clicks and hisses emerged, quickly translated by the ship's eye. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered territory claimed by the Draveri Empire. Identify yourself and state your purpose." Chen stepped forward. "This is Captain Morgan Chen of the Terran defense ship Prometheus. We are on a mission of peaceful exploration and diplomatic outreach. Our records show this system as unclaimed space." The Draveri commander's head tilted, its eyes narrowing. "Terran. Ah, the human species. We have heard of your kind." There was unmistakable dismissal in its tone. "Your records are outdated. The glorious Draveri Empire claimed this sector 3 cycles ago. Your presence here is a violation of our sovereign space." Prakash whispered to Chen, "Intelligence has no record of any Draveri Empire. They weren't in the Galactic registry last update." Chen nodded slightly. This wasn't uncommon. The galaxy was vast, and humanity was still relatively new to interstellar politics. Many established empires viewed Earth's rapid expansion with suspicion or outright hostility. "We apologize for the misunderstanding," Chen replied diplomatically. "We would be interested in establishing formal relations with the Draveri Empire. Perhaps we could arrange." "Your apology is noted," the Draveri commander interrupted. "However, unauthorized entry into Imperial space requires a demonstration of our authority. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded for inspection." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her posture stiffened. "I'm afraid I can't comply with that request. Under Terran law, I cannot surrender command of this vessel except to Terran Defense Force authorities." The Draveri commander's scales darkened, a physiological response that the ship's xenobiologist had quietly flagged as indicating aggression or irritation. "You misunderstand, human. This was not a request. The Draveri Empire does not negotiate with lesser species. Your technology level is generations behind ours. Compliance is your only logical option. Around the Prometheus, the Draveri vessels adjusted their positions, weapons ports visibly opening along their hulls. All hands, yellow alert, Chen ordered calmly. Lieutenant Reyes, passive scans only. Let's not appear aggressive. Captain, Prakash cautioned. Those ships are targeting our propulsion systems. Chen faced the screen again. Commander, I respectfully suggest we discuss this situation without resorting to threats. The Terran Alliance has a policy of peaceful first contact, but we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. The Draveri commander made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. Defend yourselves. With what? Our scans indicate your vessel possesses minimal weapons capabilities. Your shields are primitive, and your hull composition would not withstand even a warning shot from our tertiary batteries. Chen smiled thinly. Perhaps your scans are as outdated as our star charts. This seemed to anger the alien commander. Since you refuse to acknowledge your position, a demonstration appears necessary. Witness the power of the Draveri Empire, then reconsider your defiance. The transmission cut abruptly. Seconds later, one of the smaller Draveri ships fired a bright beam of energy that lanced past the Prometheus's bow, missing by less than 100 meters. Direct hit avoidance confirmed. The tactical AI announced. Energy analysis complete. Polarized plasma-based weapon. Approximately 4.3 terawatts. Chen nodded, unsurprised. The weapons technology was impressive, but not unknown to human military scientists. Defensive systems status. Phase shields offline as ordered, Captain, reported Lieutenant Commander Wolf from the engineering station. Aegis Point defense grid on standby. Prometheus protocol at ready status. Captain, Reyes called out, the Draveri ships are repositioning. They're forming an encirclement pattern. On the tactical display, the Draveri vessels moved with choreographed precision, surrounding the Prometheus in 3 dimensions. Their weapon ports glowed with building energy. They're charging weapons across the fleet, Captain Prakash reported. Energy signatures indicate they're preparing a synchronized barrage. The communication system chimed again. The Draveri commander reappeared on screen. This is your final opportunity, human. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding, or we will disable your vessel by force. Your primitive ship cannot withstand our combined firepower. Chen glanced around the bridge. Her crew was calm, professional, showing none of the fear the Draveri clearly expected to inspire. They had trained for this, had prepared for the day when humanity would face a technologically superior force that underestimated them. It was practically inevitable given how rapidly humans had expanded into space after the quantum fold drive was perfected. Commander, Chen replied, allowing a hint of resignation to color her tone. I can see we're outmatched. However, our laws require me to inform you that any hostile action against this vessel will be considered an act of war against the Terran Alliance. The Draveri commander's scales rippled with what appeared to be amusement. War. Your species barely controls a handful of systems. The Draveri Empire spans thousands of worlds across 3 spiral arms. Your threat is as insignificant as your vessel. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged. But I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't warn you of the consequences. Your warning is noted and dismissed. Prepare to experience the might of the Draveri Empire. As the transmission ended, Chen's demeanor changed entirely. Gone was the conciliatory diplomat, replaced by the veteran starship captain. Red alert. All hands to battle stations. Commander Wolf, initialize phase shield systems, but hold at 20% capacity. Let's not show our full hand immediately. The bridge lighting shifted to a deep crimson as alert klaxons sounded throughout the ship. The Prometheus hummed as its defensive systems came online, though outwardly, the ship appeared unchanged. Captain, the Draveri fleet is launching what appears to be a synchronized weapons barrage. Reyes reported, his voice steady despite the dozens of threat indicators now illuminating his display. Chen settled into her command chair, expression resolute as she watched the Draveri ships unleash their attack. Brilliant beams of energy and plasma torpedoes streaked toward the Prometheus from all directions. All hands, brace for impact. Initiate first contact protocol. The Prometheus stood alone against the overwhelming firepower of the Draveri fleet, seemingly outgunned and outmatched. But as the alien weapons converged on the human vessel, Captain Chen allowed herself a small, grim smile. The Draveri were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating humanity. The Prometheus Protocol. The space around the Prometheus erupted in blinding light as the Draveri weapons impacted the invisible barrier of the phase shield. Instead of penetrating or dispersing in the conventional manner of energy meeting a traditional shield, the beams and torpedoes seemed to distort, their paths bending and twisting before dissipating harmlessly. On the Draveri command ship, High Commander Vexcor stared in disbelief at the sensor readings. "Impossible," he hissed, his dorsal spines flaring in agitation. "Fire again. Maximum power." The Draveri fleet responded immediately, unleashing an even more devastating barrage. Planet-killing levels of energy crashed against the human vessel's defenses. For a brief moment, a shimmering geometric pattern became visible around the Prometheus. Interlocking hexagons of silvery light that appeared and vanished so quickly they might have been an illusion. On the Prometheus's bridge, the crew remained calm as the ship shuddered slightly under the assault. "Phase shield holding at 38% capacity, Captain," reported Commander Wolf. "Minimal power drain." Chen nodded. "Status of the Prometheus Protocol." "Fully charged and ready, Captain." "Excellent." Chen turned to communications. "Officer Tanaka, open a channel to the Draveri command ship." The Draveri commander's face appeared on screen, his scales now a dark purple with rage and confusion. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. "Our sensors indicated no such defensive capabilities." "No trickery, Commander," Chen replied calmly. "Simply technology you failed to detect. I tried to warn you about the consequences of attacking a Terran vessel." "Impossible. No shield could withstand that level of bombardment." Chen smiled. "It's not a shield, at least not in the way you understand them. What you're seeing is a phase shield, a localized distortion of space-time that redirects energy around our hull rather than attempting to block it directly." The Draveri commander's multiple eyes blinked rapidly as he processed this information. Such technology is theoretical, even among the elder races of the Galactic Core. "Theoretical no longer," Chen replied. "Humanity has always excelled at turning theory into practice when survival demands it. Now I suggest you recall your fleet, and we discuss a peaceful resolution to this misunderstanding." The Draveri commander's scales darkened further. "One defensive system, however advanced, does not change the balance of power. Your vessel has no offensive capabilities that could threaten my fleet. You are still outnumbered and outgunned." Chen sighed. She had hoped the demonstration would be enough. "I see. Lieutenant Reyes, target the smallest Draveri vessel with a Class 1 gravitational pulse. Just enough to demonstrate." "Target locked, Captain." "Fire." There was no visible beam, no projectile, no conventional weapon discharge. Instead, a subtle distortion rippled through space from the Prometheus toward the targeted Draveri ship. When it reached the alien vessel, the effect was immediate and dramatic. The ship suddenly lurched as if grabbed by an invisible hand, its hull plates bulging and contracting as gravitational forces, thousands of times normal, pulled and pushed in contradictory directions. Within seconds, the Draveri ship's structural integrity failed. It didn't explode. It imploded, crushing inward before breaking apart into a cloud of debris. Silence fell across the Prometheus bridge as the crew watched the demonstration of their ship's true power. Chen took no pleasure in the destruction, but sometimes peace could only be achieved through a demonstration of strength. What was that?" the Draveri commander demanded, his voice notably less imperious. "Targeted gravitational manipulation," Chen explained. A byproduct of our phase shield research, we discovered that the same technology that could bend spacetime to deflect energy could also be focused to create localized gravitational distortions. That was approximately 15% of the system's capacity. She leaned forward in her chair. "Commander, I don't want to destroy your fleet. My mission is peaceful exploration and diplomacy. But make no mistake, if you continue this aggression, the Prometheus is fully capable of reducing every one of your ships to their component atoms." The Draveri commander was visibly struggling to maintain his composure. "This technology, it violates the natural order. The Empire's scientists declared such weapons impossible. Perhaps they should reconsider their assumptions," Chen replied. "Humanity has faced extinction multiple times in our history. Each time, we've survived by doing what others considered impossible. It's something of a specialty of ours." The tactical display showed the Draveri fleet backing away, weapons ports closing as they maintained a new, respectful distance. "Captain," Commander Prakash said quietly, "they're powering down weapons systems across their fleet." Chen nodded. "Commander," she addressed the Draveri leader, "I propose the following. We will withdraw from this system peacefully. In return, you will acknowledge that you fired upon a Terran vessel without provocation. I will report this incident to Terran Command, who will then dispatch proper diplomatic representatives to establish formal relations with the Draveri Empire." The commander's scales had faded to a pale blue, which the xenobiologist quietly indicated showed submission or acquiescence in their species. "These terms are acceptable," the Draveri commander conceded. "The Empire will await your diplomats." "Excellent," Chen replied. "I suggest a neutral system for these discussions. The Proxima Centauri outpost has facilities for interspecies negotiations." After the transmission ended, Chen turned to her crew. "Stand down from red alert. Lieutenant Reyes, plot a course out of the system, nice and slow. Let's not appear to be fleeing." "Course plotted, Captain." As the Prometheus began its dignified withdrawal, Commander Prakash approached Chen. "Permission to speak freely, Captain." "Always, Naveen. We could have destroyed their entire fleet, made a stronger statement about Terran power." Chen shook her head. "That's exactly what we're trying to avoid. Humanity's history is filled with empires that rose through military might alone. They all fell eventually." She gestured toward the tactical display, where the Draveri fleet remained in formation, watching the Prometheus depart. Today, they learned that humans aren't the primitive newcomers they assumed. They learned we have technology they can't match. But most importantly, they learned we chose not to use that power to destroy them when we could have. That's the message I want to send to the galaxy." Prakash considered this. "You think they'll respect that restraint? Many species interpret mercy as weakness." "Perhaps," Chen acknowledged. "But the Prometheus Protocol isn't just about our weapons or shields. It's about demonstrating who we are as a species. Yes, we can fight when threatened, but we prefer peace. Today, we didn't just win a battle. We opened the door to a potential alliance." As the Prometheus continued its departure, the crew returned to their regular duties. Lieutenant Reyes monitored the Draveri fleet carefully, but the alien vessels maintained their distance, making no move to pursue or re-engage. "Transmission coming in from Terran Command, Captain," Tanaka announced. "Admiral Hernandez is requesting a briefing on the encounter." "Put her through to my ready room," Chen replied, rising from her chair. "Commander Prakash, you have the bridge." In her private office, Chen faced the holographic projection of Admiral Elena Hernandez, her former mentor and the architect of the Prometheus Protocol. "Morgan," the Admiral greeted her, "I see the Prometheus has had its first real test." "Yes, Admiral. The phase shield performed exactly as designed, and the gravitational pulse weapon was more effective than our simulations predicted." Hernandez's expression grew serious. "Casualties. One Draveri vessel destroyed in the demonstration. We had no choice. They weren't taking our defensive capabilities seriously." The Admiral nodded slowly. and their response after the demonstration. Diplomatic, if reluctant. They've agreed to formal talks. I've suggested Proxima Centauri as a neutral meeting ground. Good. The diplomatic course will take it from here. Hernandez paused, studying Chen's face. Something's bothering you, Morgan. What is it? Chen sighed. The ease with which they dismissed us, Admiral. Their absolute certainty that we couldn't possibly be a threat. And they're not the first species to make that assumption about humanity. It's almost become predictable, Hernandez agreed. Ever since we joined the galactic community, we've been underestimated. Perhaps it's because our physical form doesn't immediately suggest danger. No claws, no natural armor, no venom. Or perhaps it's because we're newcomers, Chen suggested. The Draveri commander mentioned they control thousands of worlds across 3 spiral arms. We've barely colonized 50 planets, which is precisely why the Prometheus exists, Hernandez reminded her, to demonstrate that humanity doesn't need overwhelming numbers or centuries of interstellar presence to be respected. Quality over quantity. Chen nodded. The Prometheus protocol worked as intended. They now understand that humans are not to be trifled with, despite our relatively small footprint in the galaxy. And the word will spread, Hernandez added. The Draveri will tell others about the ship that bent spacetime itself as a defense and wielded gravity as a weapon. Each telling will grow in the retelling, until the mere mention of a Terran vessel will make potential aggressors think twice. Creating respect through fear, Admiral? Chen asked, concerned. Creating respect through demonstrated capability and restraint, Hernandez corrected. You could have destroyed their entire fleet, but you chose to disable a single vessel as a warning. That distinction matters, Morgan. It's what separates us from conquerors. After the transmission ended, Chen returned to the bridge. The Prometheus had cleared the Draveri system and was preparing to engage its quantum fold drive for the journey home. Captain on the bridge, Prakash announced as she entered. Status report, Chen asked, retaking her seat. All systems nominal, Captain. The Draveri fleet has returned to their command station. No sign of pursuit. Very good. Prepare for quantum fold. As the massive engines hummed to life, Chen reflected on the encounter. Today, the Prometheus had fulfilled its purpose, not just as a warship, but as an ambassador of humanity's ingenuity and principles. They had shown the Draveri, and by extension any other species who would hear of this encounter, that humans were not to be dismissed or threatened. But more importantly, they had shown that humanity could possess tremendous power without succumbing to the temptation to abuse it. In a galaxy where might often made right, perhaps that was the most revolutionary message of all. Quantum fold drive engaged, Captain, reported Wolf from engineering. Take us home, Chen ordered. Space rippled around the Prometheus as it slipped into the quantum fold, leaving behind a legend that would soon spread throughout the stars. The story of a single human ship that had faced down an alien armada and emerged victorious not through superior firepower, but through innovation, courage, and restraint. In the vastness of space, word would travel of humanity's capabilities. And the next time an alien empire encountered a human vessel at the edge of their territory, perhaps they would choose diplomacy first. Captain Morgan Chen smiled. That had been the true purpose of the Prometheus Protocol all along.